topic, Brandon Aiyuk of the San Francisco 49ers, one of my favorite wide receivers in the game right now. If you've been living under a rock, if you haven't been following the San Francisco 49ers these past, I don't know, 12 months, um, yes, this whole situation may be foreign to you, but just to catch everybody up, standout wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk of the San Francisco 49ers has been putting up numbers, has had some impeccable seasons. I had his numbers somewhere around here in the notes, but for sure, what he led the NFL in was receptions, yards per receptions, excuse me, 17.9 was the number on that one. And now we have gotten to a point where Brandon Ayuk is on the last year of his either the last 2 years of his rookie deal, where he'll be making 14 million. And considering that his production has been superb, he's looking to get his extension earlier in his rookie deal, as well as just trying to get compensated for the work he's gotten. Um, and at this point, the negotiations have been going on for quite some time. But at this point, we have, well, like I said, we've been at a standstill in this situation, as Brandon Ayuk has been trying to get paid like some of the higher paid receivers in the league. Some names that come to mind: Justin Jefferson, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith of the Eagles as well, Jamar Chase. He's trying to get a big bag like those guys. And I'm not mad at that. I like Brandon Ayuk again. My opinion may be a little, biased. Um, but the 49ers are unwilling to give him that money. Also, the 49ers are unwilling to trade him. As you can see in the title, he's put in for a trade request, but the 49ers have both refused to pay him and refused to trade him. So just makes the stalemate even that much worse. But to give some history, the 49ers have been here before, as they have made a history of having these standoffs with their star players for whatever reason. I don't get it. I don't know why. Might just be a San Francisco thing, but they've had a standoff with one of their star players for the last 2-3 years now, including this year. In 2022, it was Debo Samuels. Debo Samuels requested a trade. Last year, Nick Bosa didn't request a trade, but he ended up getting his payday a little later. And like late July, I recall that I was following that storyline as well. Debo Samuel, Debo Samuel's the same thing. I believe he ended up getting paid at the end of July as well, or somewhere later on. But he put in for a trade request. The 49ers totally ignored it and ended up getting them paid. Another situation that I totally forgot about was Robbie Gold. Robbie Gold had a bit of a standoff with the 49ers in 2019, I believe it was. And so he was in the same situation. Like I said, the 49ers have shown a history of this behavior, going to have these games of chicken, if you will, with their star players. But what can we say? Um, Me personally, I believe that Brandon Ayuk is a number one receiver. I would have personally, me in 2022, let Debo walk if he didn't, get on a more friendlier deal but in 2022, I should throw it because I'm kind of jumping the gun a little bit. 2022, that was before the ascension of Brock Purdy. Another reason for this whole standoff situation is that the 49ers are trying to reserve a couple pennies later on down the line for Brock Purdy, the standout rookie who had a sensational season last year. They're trying to, hold out for his payday, and also they're trying to hold out a little bit so they can get Brock Purdy before his rookie deal is up, and they can get him on a bit of a friendlier contract. As the top guys right now are making upwards of 50, 55, $60 million a year. And the 49ers just wouldn't be able to afford that to pay Brock Purdy that much. So they're trying to work out a deal with Brandon Ayuk. I heard that the number that they're trying to give him is about 26 million. Um, which me personally, I'm like, hey, to get this whole situation over with, I'll take that 26 if I'm Brandon Aiyuk. I think the highest paid receiver right now is Justin Jefferson. I think he's making somewhere in the early 30s, 32, something like that, if I'm not right. 30, if not 30 even. So, of course, as good as Brandon Ayuk is, he ain't in that echelon just yet, that tier of the receivers as the guys that have gotten that money have been the number one option on their team. They play with the franchise guy. They play with the backups and still put up their numbers. So respectfully, you can't really argue with those top guys, but I wouldn't put Brandon Ayuk at that table just yet. I would put him about the 26 million a year table. I would take that, but that's just the number that they've been trying to work out with Brandon Ayuk, considering the fact they're trying to save money for Brock Purdy down the line. This is a quarterbacks league. We all know Brock Purdy is going to get paid eventually. He's already made a Super Bowl appearance. He's already had outstanding numbers. So, we're not ignorant to how the business goes. But anyway, Brandon Ayuk. Um, yes, has put in his trade request. The situation here, though, is it ain't gonna be no fun because the Rabbit don't have the gun in this situation. The San Francisco 49ers have all of the leverage here. They got Brandon Ayuk, I believe, for another 2 years under his rookie deal. In addition to that, they don't have to trade him. They don't have to. They can act like they didn't hear a word he said when he put in that trade request. At this point, Brandon Ayuk is at a standstill. So much so that it would be at a disadvantage for Brandon Ayuk at this point to try and to try to continue his holdout. He's already paid upwards of $100,000. If he continues to hold out by the time preseason begins, he would have paid about almost $1 million. About $829,000. I believe the number was. And then if the preseason starts and Brandon Ayuk continues to hold out, I believe that the San Francisco 49ers can penalize him as well, severely. I forget what the number was. And then this is another thing, guys. I believe he can get penalized up to 829,000. Um, before if this continues on, but by the time the first preseason game starts, if Brandon Ayuk ain't out there, then the San Francisco 49ers can tax him 829 right then and there, that game, for each game. So I believe that's what I had read. It's just the point of the matter that it's not even worth it. By the end of the day, that 14 million that he would been have planned for would have been 12 million by the time this whole situation is over, just because he's holding out for that money. So and also the San Francisco 49ers could also franchise tag Brandon Ayuk for 22 million, excuse me. So it's just a lot of moving pieces. Very interesting situation, even at this point in all of the hoopla, because now, like I said, Brandon Ayuk can put in the trade request all he wants. He has no leverage. He'll only be losing money in this situation, and it's kind of unfortunate for the young man. But I totally get where he's coming from. In the NFL, if y'all don't know, it stands for not for long. You know what I mean? Anything can happen. You can take a big hit. You can be injured, and the whole trajectory of your career can be changed. We've seen this movie many a times in the NFL. So a lot of these guys try to get their bags early, or within a good fair time frame if they produced. Again, I like Brandon Ayuk. I believe he's the number one wide receiver. The moment you get rid of a Brandon Ayuk, you'll be looking for another Brandon Ayuk in the trade market and free agency. Blase, blase. The young man has the goods. So I believe that you work this thing out. And again, me personally, I would have let Deebo Samuel walk. Deebo Samuel is a fantastic football player. But he reminds me of the dude Cordell Patterson. If y'all don't know who Cordell Patterson is, he's played with a multitude of teams in the NFL. He plays with the Steelers, I believe, right now. But Cordell Patterson plays wide receiver. He plays running back. He does kick returns, punt returns. He's just like the all-purpose guy. Debo reminds me of him, just a higher, a better version of that. But at the same time, if I'm looking for what I need in my offense, I'm looking for a Brandon Ayuk, especially when you're talking about a guy that could pair up well with Brock Purdy. It'd be definitely be good for him and Brock Purdy's growth. Even with all of this holding out, the situation is only going to work against Brandon Aiyuk even further because he's not going to be getting that chemistry with Brock Purdy. And also he'll be, um, this is a contract year. If he doesn't get his extension right now, this is a contract year, and you want to look the best you can and have the as best rapport around the league as you can, so nothing can really hold you up or be an excuse for why you can't get your money. So, it's furthermore reason why Brandon Ayuk shouldn't hold out, but this is the situation we're in. And like I said, it's a very unfortunate situation for the young man. Big fan of Brandon Ayuk, but this game of chicken isn't looking good for him just because the San Francisco 49ers are the semi truck in this situation. You know what I mean? And we'll see what happens. There's been some rumors about some possible trade, spots. I'm hearing the Jets, I'm hearing the Chiefs. I don't believe that the San Francisco 49ers would deal him to the Chiefs for sure, considering that's the team that has beaten them twice in the Super Bowl. You don't want to give them, if y'all happen to get back there a third time against one another, you don't want to give them a possible, producer that could be the reason why y'all lose another Super Bowl to them. So, but the Chiefs and the Jets were just some rumor mill teams I've heard, putting their early hats in the game in the Brandon Ayuk sweepstakes. But we'll see how this thing unfolds because, like I say, it's a very interesting situation to say the least. I've been following it since the inception of it. I'm also I like my Packers. That's my team. I love my Packers, as y'all can see. Boom, I got the team up there representing, but at the same time, the 49ers are one of those teams that, if my team ain't winning, I wouldn't mind seeing the 49ers get it. They've been one of those legendary teams since I've been watching in the NFL that I like. They've been my Madden team a few times, back in the Kaepernick days before he went crazy. So I like the 49ers, man. I hate the situation for them. I would like to see them get over the hump. They've been there a few times, not been able to get the job done. I like Brock Purdy a lot, so just kind of hoping the best for an enemy, you know what I mean? An enemy team of mine because Aaron Rodgers, that's my dog, but he never beat the 49ers in the postseason, ladies and gentlemen. Not once. Not in the he didn't beat Jimmy G. He didn't beat Colin Kaepernick. He didn't beat Alex Smith. We got three different versions. I don't know if we faced off with Jimmy G, but definitely Alex Smith and Colin Kaepernick. Um, and we didn't beat any of those teams. So any of those versions of the 49ers, you know what I mean? So yeah, I hate to even say what I'm saying, but I like the 49ers, the brand anyway. But ladies and